Guy's a good boy.
Yeah.
So Garrett, you'll hear music for just a little bit, and then when it stops, we will be live.
Leo, you're recording.
Yes.
All right,
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
You are, in fact, watching The Dorkening.
You're watching The Dorkening. Stay tuned.
For all the geek news everywhere. Dorkening.
And this is The Dorkening. Trust me, I'm smarter than these guys.
Because The Dorkening is the best and most educational entertainment and information source that the Trauma team knows of. It's the best. The Dorkening.
Hey, happy Tuesday, everybody. You're watching Splash Pages, powered by the Dorkening Podcast Network. My name's Leo. I'm the monkey behind the keyboard here. We have an awesome show scheduled for you and an amazing guest. Can't wait to get into this. But without further ado, Velvet, how's it going, bud?
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Tuesday night, and it's 8 o'clock. Time for Splash Pages, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about news. We're going to have a great guest. We're going to find out, does he have any relation to James Gunn? There's lots of questions that need to be answered, and we're going to find out tonight on Splash Pages.
Mr. Drew.
Oh, and it's so exciting because all four of us are actually back together for the first time in a month. Yay!
Yes, a lot been going on.
I've been missing all of you.
Yeah. Same here. Drew.
Are you done, Rich? I'm just making sure.
And another thing. No.
Oh my God. Hi, I'm here. I'm tired. I'm back together. and there's so many things I want to do with this fucking pencil. So, but we'll save that for later. Next.
Ciao, ciao.
Hey, it's me. I'm looking a little rough around the edges. I should have
You are.
brushed the hair a little.
Yeah,
Oh, my.
seriously.
It's a thanks, Drew.
You're welcome. Love you.
It's Tuesday night. It's 8:00. It is time for Splash Pages, and as everybody has said, we have a great guest tonight. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, put on your superhero capes and get ready to laugh out loud because we have a comic genius in our midst. Please give a warm welcome to Garrett Gunn, the comedic mastermind behind some of the funniest and most entertaining comic stories out there. Get ready for a wild ride filled with hilarious twists, outrageous characters, and side-splitting humor. Welcome, Garrett Gunn.
Man, that's first of all, that's a lot. That's a lot of pressure. All right.
I know.
I feel like if you had done the research, you'd know I'm at best mediocre.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and genius. I don't know about all that.
Oh,
that was
man.
by far though the coolest intro I've ever seen of like as far as production quality.
Wasn't
like
that?
That was dope.
Leo is great.
It reminded me
of
the intro to Comic Book Man, which I think is like one of the coolest show intros ever. That's awesome. That was dope. Thanks for having me, though. Yeah, I'm Garrett Gunn.
Leo, take your bow, damn it.
You know me, I have trouble doing that, but thank you.
He's very bad at that.
And Carrie said, "Zoomies." Oh my god! When I read that, holy shit, that was.
Don't calm down. Don't get the zoomies.
So let me start this off. So, Garrett, so I take it you're a John Wick fan. Just a little bit. Okay.
Yep.
'Cause, if you read your book, you know your story, The Good Boy.
Yeah.
It literally begs the question: what would happen if John Wick's dog had lived and John had died?
Yep.
And apparently, not really much else different. Just a ton of
a lot of killing. Yeah.
a lot of killing, a lot of that. And you know the funny thing I got to say, for a dog, I have not seen a single Scooby snack in what I've read. So I was impressed because no treats.
You know what's funny? That line was in the script at one point. Somebody we had like a drug addict or something. And they were talking about how like, oh, you know him, like he'll do anything for a Scooby snack. And it just wasn't right for the scene and we cut it. And now I kind of like regret taking it out because like comparing Scooby snacks to like a meth addiction is pretty awesome. Yeah. So this is Good Boy. Me and my co-writer, Christina Blanche, Dr. Christina Blanche, we are.
She's a real doctor.
Fans. She is a doctor. Yeah, she is. She's a doctor of education. She was a teacher in prison for years. She actually wrote. She wrote an incredible book called The Damnation of Charlie Wormwood, which was like about stories based on that she had talked to prison inmates she worked with, stories they had told her, and she used them in this story that she wrote. But we are both huge John Wick fans. And one day I said, hey, I've got this idea for this little one-off thing. It'll be fun. We can do a little John Wick love letter story, reverse the roles. And we were like, oh, cool. We did it, finished it. And we were like, well, that was fun. And then the response to it was insane. We got really lucky because when we launched Good Boy, Stray Dogs had already been so popular. Stray Dogs had just come out and it was dogs were the big thing. And we were friends with the creators of Stray Dogs.
Right.
And so we got kind of lumped together a bunch. And I feel like they kind of pulled us up with them. And then when Stray Dogs did, because that was a limited time thing, people were like, oh man, that sucks. We
need more dogs.
It's a great story, but we need it to go on. So we were the answer to that. We kept it going because those people all just kind of then shifted over and were like, well, I'm going to read Good Boy now. And now here we are, like we've done 3 volumes, like 12 comics. We're doing, we have 6 more volumes in production right now.
Nice.
And we're about to launch a toy line and a video game and all kinds of stuff.
What's it take? Because that's what you're here for mainly, the Kickstarter for the toy.
Yeah.
Let's get right into the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
What is it about, and what are you looking for?
When we first were like, Good Boy was taking off and stuff, I'm a huge Funko collector. Yeah. I'm a huge, fanatic is what they call us. I mean, you can't see the sides. You can't see the sides of my walls, but I've got, well, you know what? Here, like, so
holy shit.
Yeah, that's
displays.
You're called
a
fun
store.
Yeah, fanatic. So they, I was like, well, damn, like my dream would be to have a Good Boy Funko Pop. Plus, I feel like on top of, if you're a fan of the book, a dog John Wick pop would sell very well. So we reached out to him. We were like, look, we want to do a Funko Pop. The requirements are you got to order 30,000 units and they cost like $7 a piece or $6 a piece. So it's $180,000. It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
We talked to some retail partners who were like, listen, we'll buy, a third of the print run. We'll do this. We were going to do like a glow in the dark and a this and a that. And we couldn't get Funko to get back to us. Wow. And we were like, we're sitting here ready to place $180,000 order for a collectible. And you won't even email us back. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to make my own. I went out, I sourced a factory overseas. We got these awesome people we knew, Killian Blackheart and Les Garner, to 3D sculpt the initial like chibi design. And we just started working with the factory, and I was like, look, I want it to be a 10-inch vinyl collectible. I want it to be come in a cool box. I want it to be this. I want it to be that. And we just made it ourselves. And this Kickstarter has made a massive shift over the last few years from hey, we need help paying for a thing that we want to make to a pre-order platform. And that's essentially what, like when you look at Bad Idea running a $2 million Kickstarter to like put a book in comic shops, we need your help. No, they don't. They want to pre-sell you the book so they can pay for the production and do all that, and then they'll just solicit it to comic shops. Like, it's just a way for you to have a cool tie to creators and feel a part of a thing and have an experience getting something that other people don't get, which is what all collectors want.
Right.
So this Kickstarter was like, we're going to release a super limited run of toys. We're only going to do 1,000 of them. Everyone comes like serialized and comes with like signed foil COAs. And they're all sealed with tamper evident serialized labels to make sure like someone hasn't opened it. Tons of stuff.
Which Funko Pops don't actually have. You can actually open those up pretty easily. Yeah.
So it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a really rad, collectible for not only Good Boy fans, but I mean, there's a bunch of people that are following the campaign that I don't know who they are. Usually I have a pretty good gauge of like, okay, I know my crew. I know my Good Boy people, and I see names on a list and I go, okay, I know these people.
Bob's here.
There's a bunch of people I've never heard of that are showing up to buy it, and either they're Good Boy fans or they just love the idea of a dog as a mercenary or whatever. It's going to be awesome. So it's going to be the only chance. Like, if they sell out, we're not doing another printing of those.
Oh, no kidding.
So,
1,000 and that's it.
Yep. And some of them are really limited. I mean, we have ones like we're doing artist series versions.
Are you doing different stretch goals and stuff?
Yeah. So we're going to do stretch goals that have to do with like, adding accessories to it. Like adding guns and adding this and adding that, like adding enhancements to the figure, like different treatments and stuff. But on top of that, we're going to have some pretty cool add-ons that aren't available anywhere else. We're we're doing a commemorative Good Boy #1 issue of the comic. We bought all of the original printing plates from overseas from when the series was printed. And printing plates, there's only one of each plate ever.
Yeah.
So we bought all those, and we're trimming them down, and we're taking one plate each, and we're making a variant out of each plate, so that there's only one of every book. Like everyone gets a one of one.
Okay.
So we're releasing that as an add-on to the campaign for like $50. You can get this one of one.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's really cool.
Yeah, we're just trying to make some like fun, original, different stuff.
And even better, you're doing it yourself. Like you tried. And when these people were kind of halting your dream, you're like, "Fuck it, I'm going to do it on my own." And in some ways, it kind of worked out even better because now you're taking it to places that with Funko you may not have gone to.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of always been our like go-to. Like whenever people ask me, "Oh, like what'd you get into comics for?" Like, I just want to make cool shit with my friends, man. That's all I do this for. And the less people I can cut out, like less red tape I can cut out to like keep more of my friends paid and artists, paid and continue to give them work, the better.
You are clearly on the right show because that's literally on us. It's just we're four nerds that somehow knew shit and we decided to work together like an all dude Fantastic Four. So
absolutely,
I love it.
I'm the Invisible Woman.
Garrett, let's take it back a little bit. I mean, that is all super exciting. But how do two John Wick nerds write a comic book and then get the okay to put it out?
Oh yeah,
how does that happen?
Because at least that first volume is really
spot
on to the movie.
In comics and other medium, like parody is an acceptable way to make a thing, right? Like you look at like Spaceballs, right? Like or things like that. They're following a story arc. They're following a path, and they're poking fun at a thing. And that's what we were trying to do. We were trying, like the conversation that I had when I first met Christy. I had never seen John Wick. And I went up and I went to like this first time I've ever talked to her. I knew who she was. I went and I tried to introduce myself. And I said, "Oh, what are you guys talking about?" And her and the person she was talking to said, "Oh, we're talking about John Wick." And I was like, "Oh, it's crazy. I've never seen it." And she was like, "Cool. Well, then you can leave, and you can rejoin the conversation when you know about John Wick." And I was like, "Jesus." Okay,
I was that guy until last week.
So I went home and I watched. At that point, there was like 3 had just come out, and I watched all the way through 3. And sorry, 2 had just come out. We went all the way. I watched 1 and 2, and then 3 was coming out, and I came back. I was like, okay, by all accounts, John Wick should be an awful movie because it has all of the ingredients to be like a Steven Seagal movie.
Yeah,
and
yes,
absolutely
bad.
Like
but somehow
you're dropped into this universe where like he's an assassin and you're just like you're supposed to accept it. And I'm like
that.
what?
Well, and they like don't tell you a lot.
No,
like,
not at all.
You're dropped into all this crazy shit, and you're like, you have to have like a massive, suspension of disbelief, like to just be like, oh, okay, cool, like we're in this, and Keanu Reeves is somehow the deadliest motherfucker that's ever lived.
Bank.
Like,
what?
Yeah. So I told her, I said, like, this should be a really bad movie, but somehow it's just incredible. Like I can't stop watching it. I watched 1 and 2, and then I watched it again, and then I watched it a third time like a month later. I was like, it was such an easy thing to put on while I'm working and just sit there, and I'd catch myself like looking out, like stopping working to be like, that's so badass. Oh fuck. Stuff like that. And so we just talked about it back and forth. And then I just had this idea. And I was like, hey, I want to make this comic. I think it'd be fun. It'd be a fun one-off parody thing. And we did. And the publisher, I mean, SourcePoint, when I pitched it to SourcePoint, they were like, okay. And we did an ash can of it. I said, look, let me get like 10 pages made. and I'm going to put this ash can out, and I'm going to show it to people and do whatever, blah, blah. And it was crazy. Like we printed 500 ash cans. They sold out in like 4 days.
Oh, nice.
The publisher was like, okay, well, do more.
Yeah.
Right. So Garrett, just for clarity, so an ash can is essentially like a preview book. It's basically like back in the day they used to do like half issues where it's just
so the name comes from like, you would trash them. Like it was things that were sent to comic shops as teasers or sent out like in periodicals, like as like a teaser marketing piece, and you would trash them. Like it was just like it ends up in the ash can. So like it was just a small tidbit of a story just to give you kind of an idea. And the comic market, the collectibles market, sort of since then has like co-opted it into this idea of like, well, it's a preview issue to a thing that's coming out. And for collectors, that's the thing you want, right? Because that's the real first appearance.
You want the first appearance.
If you had a
least amount of copies,
an Action Comics #1 ash can,
yeah,
that would be the one you want. Well, it's almost exactly the same as the Hulk 180 versus 181 debate. People are like, oh no, this is the #1. This is the full first appearance of Wolverine. And real diehard Wolverine collectors are like, yeah, but this is the first appearance, even though it's a cameo. Like that's the sort of thing with an ash can. So we typically use ash cans as a way to say, hey, we don't know, like we want to gauge the audience or gauge the market on this idea, this story idea. And we're going to give you 10 pages and we're going to, you can get them from us at a con or you can, whatever, and you can try it out. And then if you like the story, you're into it for a couple bucks and you can then decide to read a series. You're not having to buy a $5 first issue to then test out, a thing. And so that's what we used it for. And we made a Good Boy one and it went insane. So then we said, oh, well, that's fun. We'll do a 3-issue miniseries. And then we did I said, well, let's put it on Kickstarter, because at least then if it's successful, we will have like paid for the production and we don't have to stress about if it's going to sell enough through distribution to like, be worth it and all that.
Right.
And like the first Kickstarter did like $55,000.
Oh.
And we went,
what was your,
what? We had like James Tynan was tweeting about it. Donnie Case, Tom King, like all these people, Chip Zdarsky, were being like, holy fuck. Like our poll quote from Donnie Case was like, I'm so goddamn pissed off I didn't think of this first. Like, and that's on the trade. Because like that's crazy. Bill Sienkiewicz like did a cover for us for Volume 2. Like
what?
Christy,
amazing.
Yeah, Christy has cultivated through years amazing relationships in comics because she was a panel moderator and an editor and all these things. Like, I mean, she's friends with
you guys were doing it.
And Bill Sienkiewicz and all these people. So when it came time for us to do this series, she's like, "Hey, Bill, can you do a cover for us?" Like, sure, let me put that Batman IMAX poster that's due on hold and do a Good Boy cover.
That brings up a great question, Garrett. When you're doing one of these type of things, and let's say your goal was 20,000 and you hit 55,000, what happens to the extra money? Like, is that just distributed to the creators, or do you guys go build different levels with that extra money?
So it kind of depends. It kind of depends.
People don't know out there, so that's why I thought people might be curious.
So there's a couple of different things, right? Like number one, the books that we write are internal IP to the company, right? So when a Kickstarter is over, like we don't make, like I don't make royalties on Good Boy, right? I'm a staff writer, so I write a thing. SourcePoint owns it. And then we sell it, and the company does well. And then maybe at the end of the year, I did good enough that I maybe get a bonus or something. Like that's my job, to build internal IP for the company.
Okay.
For a Kickstarter, what we typically do with a Kickstarter is we say, okay, our goal is 20,000 because we think that by the time we have to pay for printing and paying the artist and paying the letterer and paying the colorist and paying for cover art and doing all those things, plus shipping and all that, we want to pay everybody, $1,000 for having made it, whatever. By the time we get done, that 20,000 is gone. And then we say, okay, but if we go past the 20,000,
Mhm.
We're going to make the thing people are getting better. 1, 2, either by adding more content or, making the cover more special, maybe upgrading it to a chromium cover or a metal or a whatever. Or, we're going to do something, give them something else, so we'll often do like on one of the last ones we did, like, okay, once we were funded, if we hit an extra $5,000 over our goal, everybody that backed it was going to get an ash can of the next volume as a teaser for free.
Nice.
Right. And like, the thing is, if you back it for $10 and you just get a normal copy of the book, and then it goes crazy and it hits all these crazy numbers. If you unlock, like, the people that backed Good Boy, by the time we were done, they all were getting, like, the people that backed at $10 it was insane. They were like, people were losing money to not back it because people were like, I'll wait and buy it when it's out in shops. I'm like, that's dumb. Like, right now, your $10 gets you $40 in stuff.
Oh,
like, you're getting an enamel pin, and you're getting a sticker, and you're getting an free ash can. You're getting the comic. You're getting a keychain. You're getting a stick. Like all these things. Like, you might as well just do it. And that extra cost is built into hitting the stretch goal. So
I was going to ask why you guys are going with Kickstarter, but it sounds like you guys found a home with them like that.
I have run 13 Kickstarters. I've never had one fail.
Nice.
And
knock on wood.
Yeah, primarily the reason that, like, the thing that sort of launched me into a successful career in comics. Because if you make enough of a splash on things like that, people notice.
Oh,
people see it, right? And like, some people, like, I had a meeting with an editor from a big publisher a few weeks ago, and they only knew me from, oh, you did those books on Kickstarter that, like, went crazy about the dog with the gun. Yes,
that's me.
Yes, the book that sold 40,000 units. Yes, that's my book. That's the thing. Like, it gets attention. People see it. They go, holy shit. Like, what am I missing out on? What are these other 1,000 people seeing that I'm not? And I want to be in that club. I want to be with those 1,000 people. Like, I want to get this cool stuff. And the other thing is, it's like a virus. Like, the more people that back it then tell their friends, and it, like, spreads and, like, spider webs out into, like, eventually, like I said, you get all these people that I've never heard of. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm, like, shipping a copy of this to Japan. I don't know anybody that lives in Japan. Sure. But there's a fan of Good Boy in Kyoto, Japan. Sure.
That's pretty dope.
And I would never have reached those people without that platform.
Right.
Because a lot of people just go on there and browse. A lot of people will just go on Kickstarter and go.
I do it all the time myself.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of going through. I love backing Kickstarters. As you said, like, sometimes you hit gold. Like, you drop in $10 and you come out the other side all sorts of stuff. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Well, and like, I love looking at toys on Kickstarter, seeing like, to even just to like be inspired. Like, what are people making? Like, what is the weird thing that someone's trying to make right now? And sometimes, like, I've had celebrities back my Kickstarters, like that. That's nice. like as someone tagged Kevin Smith in a thing one time, and Kevin Smith backed one of my campaigns. Like, weird stuff that I'm like, some people go in that I've had a couple of scares because like someone will come in and drop like a lot of money. Like sometimes you put tears.
And then you're worried.
Sometimes you put tears on a Kickstarter and you're like, no one's gonna buy that, but it's like a fun thing that whatever.
Oh yeah.
And then someone buys it, and you're like, I don't know who this person is. Like,
are they actually gonna?
What if and what if I'm just at goal and then they drop at the last minute and then it fails because of it? You know what I mean? Like, it can really screw you up. I've had one of my first campaigns was for Warcorns, and like I had someone back for like $750 I never met. And I went, that's an enormous amount of money that like someone like me, I'm not backing $750 for shit. Like,
especially on something unproven.
Exactly.
Like, what?
And so come to find out, like, and I like launched a Facebook thing, like, who knows a person named this? I gotta know who this person is.
Right.
And come to find out, like, just an awesome dude, collects comics, and like we're now friends. And he's backed like every campaign since, not for that amount of money, but like what I didn't know at the time is that he was backing that because he was a fan of the artist whose original art was on that tier. And he didn't care what the book was. He just wanted the art. But then we became friends, and then like we he started following my stuff, and now he backs all this stuff. Like it's just a weird platform, but so awesome. Like you just it's great.
Very cool. Now, Garrett, you mentioned Warcorns. Now that is a very interesting concept. Can you tell the audience about that a little bit?
Yeah, Warcorns Combat Unicorns for Hire. It was a book that I wrote as a joke to make fun of a bunch of my military buddies that I served with. And I said, like, at the time, Franklin and Ghost was very popular for me. And I was looking for fun ways to introduce new characters into the story and do kind of like one-shot tie-ins using Franklin and Ghost. And I said, oh, it's funny, I'll do this one-off joke tie-in, like one shot. And it'll be about the baddest motherfuckers that have ever lived. And they're going to show up like to kill Franklin and Ghost. And then Franklin and Ghost are going to accidentally kill them without even knowing that they're there. And we did that. And I put it on Kickstarter. I said, hey, if you're a Franklin and Ghost fan, if you're not, like, this is just a funny story about like combat unicorns. And it did pretty well. Like we raised like 16 grand or something like that. And I got done and I was like, that was awesome, man. Like, that's great. All right, well, on to the next thing. And I started getting messages from Kickstarter backers that would be like, when's the next one? And I was like, the next one? Like, it's a one shot. They all died at the end. Like, you read the book, right? And they're like, yeah, I loved it. And I'm like, they're dead. All of them. Like, you watched them die grotesquely. And they're like, yeah, no, they're like, yeah, no, that's awesome. Like, but when's the next one? So I was like, all right, well, I'll do more. And I did a prequel, and I did a 4-part, 4-issue miniseries prequel, and then ended up like deciding that, like, well, at the end of them dying, someone's going to show up and, scoop up all their goo. And then they have this magical device that they can reassemble them, like that's a quality of their race, because the unicorn magic. But at the time I was like, this is a one and done. This is not going to be a thing.
Right.
But it was awesome. And what's crazy is I get so many vets that come to my table that's the only thing they've ever read of mine. And they just were like, yeah, but like, cause I ship copies of it all the time overseas to like bases and stuff. Like people are deployed and like whatever. I'll just send 20 copies and they just get put in the community bin. And people will be like, dude, I was in Iraq and like, I had this fucking thing, or I was in Kabul, Afghanistan, and like someone gave me your book. Like, I want to read more.
That's fucking cool.
It's
I
really
saw a
dope.
description that said bronies with toxic masculinity.
Yeah, it's true. They and now, like, I was just in an exhibit for the Army Education and Heritage Center.
Mm-hmm.
They did using your trauma creatively to like help yourself process, and using like art as therapy and shit. And they had a whole display about Warcorns. And I was like, that's so funny. Like I'm in an Army museum for a thing that was a joke to make fun of like all the crayon eating, mouth breathing Marines that I served with. Like, it was awesome. It's just so weird. And now, like, I mean, we just had a bid for an animated feature film come in for Warcorns. I just spent 4 days writing a screenplay for it. Like,
that's awesome.
So weird. It's just, comics is crazy, man. Like, everybody loves to quote Kirby, right? Being like, comics will break your heart, kid. Like, I want to I want someday to be like the quote where it's like, comics are fucking weird, man. Like, that's it. I never know what's going to happen next. It's the weirdest shit.
Jeremy, you were talking to him before we started the show about some other project.
The Franklin and Ghost cartoon, actually. Yeah, with Billy Bob Thornton voicing Ghost.
Yeah.
How's the process for that going, and where's it at right now?
I mean, it's great. Like, I think like in the like current, people have short attention spans, right? People want things now. And like what I point out to people sometimes is people will be like, dude, this was announced like in 2019 that this was going to be a cartoon. Like when's it coming out? And I'm like, you realize like Invincible, they worked on that for 9 years before that came out. Like,
absolutely.
Like comics, like some of these things take so long, especially animated things, because like every time you start to get headway, to Garrett find out if he's getting a Tom Bowman sneaker yet. He hasn't got back to me, Justin. He messaged me and he was like, that's awesome, we'll talk. And then he didn't get back to me. But look at, you see what I got right here? Party wagons, bro.
Nice.
Oh my!
Those
we
are
gotta bring in what's his
I love that you could see that, because I like, it was one of those moments where we see the comments and pay attention to it, but it's like, oh my god, you could see them too. Holy crap! We thought we were losing our shit.
I'm on it. So thank you. I appreciate.
Oh, he'll find it. He'll find it. He's good like that.
So, like, when we announced it, it was kind of funny because we've gone through 3 or 4 studios that had it, like that were like, okay, like we're working on it. Like, we went through, we did a trailer, we did a voice test with the actors. We did like, we've done pre-pro on the whole first episode. Like,
right.
And what's funny is every time you feel like you're making headway, like a studio goes under or a studio sells the rights to someone else. And then those people want to change. Those people want to change the direction of this. So then you're going back and redoing things you already did. And like, it can be people. I get people all the time. They're like, dude, a cartoon, that must be so exciting. And I'm like, it was 2 years ago. Now it's like, now it's just business.
Yeah.
Now it's like, that's a thing. I mean,
until it comes out.
I mean, we've had 6 or 7 books optioned for movies and TV shows. Like at this point, I'm like, it's Hollywood, man. Like that doesn't mean shit. Like people that are like, oh, I've got to buy, Something Is Killing the Children because it got optioned by these people. Yeah. And maybe it gets made someday.
Yeah.
I hope for Tynan, I hope absolutely. I think I hope so. It's an incredible book and it would make an awesome TV show.
Oh yeah.
Agreed.
Who knows?
No, I run a buy sell trade page. I watch the fads come and go all the time. Oh, this just got optioned, and all of a sudden the book skyrockets.
Yeah, like, and I mean that's the market. You're never going to change that. Like that's what people. I mean, people make their living on hype trains like that, and good for them. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that at all. I'm just saying that it is hard sometimes to understand that the stuff that's happening in the background is like it's just insane. There's so much that goes into it. But there is very exciting parts, right? Like, and they often come at unexpected times. Like I mean, we've worked on Franklin and Ghost and all those things for the last couple of years, getting those made. And then out of nowhere, a studio came to us and was like, hey, so this book that was written like 7 years ago, we want to do a movie with that. And I'm like, I haven't even thought about that book in 6 years. Like, that's crazy. And that'll be the thing that gets made first. And it's just so weird. Because by the time a thing is starting to get made, what's popular has changed, or what people are looking for in animation or live action has changed. And, oh, well, now it's, we think that in 2 years, mechs are going to be popular. So we're looking for properties that are about mechs, but it's going to take them 3 years to make it. So by the time the 2 years gets around, now they're like, well, people aren't into mechs anymore. So now we're looking for this thing. So you got to just hit that sweet spot. You got to hit that perfect window.
You mentioned Invincible. We actually had Michael Dorn on before the show came out.
Yeah.
And I asked him the question about, voicing the character on Invincible, and he totally forgot that he did anything about it. He said, by the time he remembered, he said, I did that so long ago that he didn't remember anything.
It's true. It's awesome. I mean, but everybody attached to that project, I mean, all the actors, everybody, I mean, Billy's a friend of mine and like, he's the sweetest dude ever. Like he just agreed to do the show because I asked him. Like all the people are really passionate about that thing, about those characters and about that thing getting made. And so it's nice to have a support network behind you of people that are like, aren't just like looking to do a thing and move on, you know,
Right.
like Sean Schemmel is one of my closest friends. You know, now he wasn't at the time. At the time when he auditioned to play Franklin, I had never seen an episode of Dragon Ball in my life. And he was introduced to me through a friend, Jeremy Clark, who was like, hey, I got this buddy who's a voice actor and wants to audition for this role for Franklin and Ghost. And I was like, sure. And he sent it in and I loved what he did. Like the whole company loved what he did. And so we gave it to him. And then I was like, God, Sean Schemmel, that name. Why do I know that name? And I Googled him and a big picture of Goku popped up. And I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, I'm like, Jeremy, why don't you tell me it was fucking Goku, bro? like what? But now, like, I mean, and same thing with Chris Sabat. Like all these people I've now worked with, made comics with, like know families of theirs, have like spent holidays together, like weird things. And it's just like this big family of people. And we're like, we're going to get it made someday. At some point it's going to click and it'll be out, you know, tomorrow, you know, the studio that currently has it could be like, cool, we just got a cash infusion for this project. Let's go. We're going right now. And we'll just drop
really good attitude. Really good attitude to have.
Right, go with the flow, man. Go with the flow.
Garrett, I find it fascinating. You know, we interview a lot of artists and writers in the comic industry, and a lot of them, you know, they're always chasing the next gig, but you're not doing that. With Source Point Press and your job, you don't have to do that. How did that happen for you? And were you that guy at one point?
Yeah, I mean, that's how I started, right? Like I got into comics kind of on accident. I tell people like I feel like the Michael Cera of comic books, because Michael Cera, people are just like, he was never supposed to be an actor. He was just like in a room sometime when people were like, we need this guy. And he was just like, oh, okay. Like that. And that's how Michael Cera became a famous actor. Like I wrote my first comic script while I was deployed because my behavioral health therapist who was treating me for PTSD told me that I should do writing assignments to help process my trauma. And I was like, well, that's stupid. I'm not going to do that. I was like, but I like comics. I like stories. So I'll write a story and try to incorporate some of those emotions I'm going through. And I did that. And I wrote that story. And when I came back, my wife was like, you should make this into a real comic. And I was like, that's stupid. No one wants that. And she's like, yeah, probably, but like, at least you'll have it if you do it. Like, it'll be a cool thing for you to own, like a cool experience. And I did it. And then like someone on Facebook was like, well, I'll publish this if you want. And I was like, okay. And they published it. And then they were like, when's the second one come out? And I was like, second one? What do you mean? and then it was like, when's the third one and the fourth one? And then it was like, well, are you writing any other series? And like, I was like, no, I hadn't even thought of that. And it just kind of like snowballed into this thing of me getting to do this. And I was medically retired from the Army. And at the time I was going through this like crazy, like identity crisis of like over a span of 3 months, I went from, I'm going to be a career Army guy to like, I was out of the military, like discharged, done, home, here's a pension, fuck off, have a nice life. And I was like, I didn't know what to do with my time. I was like untreated and like volatile and just depressed and just, it was awful. And I was like, well, I'm going to just pour my soul into this. Like, I'm going to do this. Like, that's what I'm going to soak all my time into. And so I just started doing it. Get up every day, treat it like a job, sit down, write, do this, create, you know, take notes, do whatever. And then I found myself getting too into like the churn and being like, I've got to make the next great thing. And it kind of like, at the same time that was happening, I was working on a book with a guy who was what I would come to find out later was not a real professional, but like had been like, oh, I drew for Marvel and I have these credits and these credits. And he was, I mean, he did have those credits, but he was a huge con artist. And we ran a Kickstarter. We did this thing. And then I stupidly was like, sure, of course, if you're a Marvel artist, of course you have to be paid up front for all these things. And he stole $7,000 from me.
Oh.
And I no longer had the Kickstarter funds that I had raised to make this book and deliver it to people. And I was like, I ended up figuring it out because an amazing artist, Nick Turris, came on and, helped me do the book and became a part of the team and did all this stuff together. But I was ready to quit. I was so, because I had taken up my identity and poured it into this thing. I was so crushed by this betrayal I had faced, from this person who I thought this person would talk to my kids and was a part, talked every day to me, did all these things, was a huge part of my life for a year, and then just stabbed me in the back and dipped. And I was like, you know what? I don't think I want to make comics anymore. That sucks. And so I was ready to quit. And I had a script. Excuse me. Oh, I'm that went down the wrong pipe. I had a script that was sitting that I've been working on separately. And my wife was like, well, we always we joke that it's the Joan Lee moment, right? She was like, well, if you're going to quit, that's fine. I support you, but you should make this thing first. You're really excited about this. She's like, there's something different about this thing. Compared to you working on these things, you get really excited and giddy, working on this thing because it's so stupid and funny and weird. She's like, just make that, then walk away. And then you'll know that you went through everything, saw it all through. And I was like, okay, fine. And that thing was Franklin a Ghost. And that thing then became my most popular book ever and sold the more units than anything ever, and went on to be 4 volumes of book and my first omnibus and first all these things. And then to be a TV show and all this stuff. And I decided at that moment when that happened and that started to take off, all right, I'm all done trying to make the next great American comic book. And I'm going to just focus on having the most fun I can, making the dumbest, most outlandish shit I can think of. And if no one buys it, I don't care. I don't give a shit. Who cares? Because I'll know that I made the thing I wanted to make and not the thing that I thought I had to make. So that's what I did. And Franklin the Ghost went, and then I made other things that followed. And some of those things were published at SourcePoint initially. And I got to know the people at SourcePoint. I got to know Travis McIntyre, the CEO, and he became one of my closest friends over years of working there. And people all the time are like, well, if you could write for Marvel and DC, I'm like, I don't care. Why? So that I can have an editor tell me how I have to make a book? I make exactly the books I want now. And arguably make more money than I would make writing a script for Marvel or DC. And so I just don't care about that. I don't chase that because I'm content. I get to work how I want, when I want, where I want, and do the thing that makes me the most happy, which is continue to surround myself with people I consider friends and that I think are very talented, far more talented than I should be able to work with. And I get to make things that I'm proud of. So I got there and was like, this is my place. I don't need to, I don't need to go anywhere else. And what's funny is when I started to have that mentality, the other people started coming. I got an opportunity to pitch for DC. I got an opportunity to pitch for, other publishers. And because I didn't care if I got it or not, I pitched them just the most wild shit. I pitched DC, I pitched Suicide Squad, but with Hanna-Barbera characters.
I would read the fuck out of
What? I would read the hell out of that.
Penelope Pitstop, Grape Ape, Ranger Rick, Boo
nice.
Boo, and all these, and the whole premise of the book was that Yogi had gone off the reservation, and it was and Boo Boo and all of them were trying to bring him in.
Hey Yogi,
how you doing, Boo Boo? He's in the pub. It's the opening of Logan, right? He's in the pub drunk as fuck, and Boo Boo comes in and the bar stool, all you hear is the bar stool slide out, and under the heavy shadow of his hat, the light of the end of the cigar, how you doing, Boo Boo? That's the book that I would write for DC. And
Oh,
come to find out, they're like, we don't have the rights to like most of these characters, so you can't do this. I was like, well, thanks, and like left. Like that was it.
that's amazing.
It was.
Do sketches exist of that anywhere?
Yes, the pitch for that project exists in my Google.
Oh, that's cool.
In his basement.
Yeah. So I
I can just imagine the team.
Yeah, it was pretty. Listen, I was like, okay, I think one of the most brilliant books DC's ever put out is Batman and Elmer Fudd. Like, I think that
Fantastic stuff. Yeah.
It's so good.
Huge fan of and I don't like DC at all. Like, I'm a Marvel kid. I was raised on Marvel comics. Like, the DC heroes never me. Nothing against people who are super into them, just never did anything for me. I've bought maybe 4 DC books in my life. But I'm a huge fan of any time someone takes a really big creative risk. And when they announced they were doing Looney Tunes and DC character, like I was like, this is fucking awesome. Outside of Batman and Elmer Fudd, I bought Jurassic League, which I thought was another fucking amazing, weird thing for them to make. Like, so weird. Awesome. Loved it. Like, that's the stuff I like. That's the stuff that inspires me to keep going, because I'm like, dude, look at these motherfuckers at this enormous company doing dumb shit. Like, that's where it is. Like, no way they were like that. Like, I want to see the pitch meeting where they were like, yo, so you know how there's like Batman and Superman and all that? Like, we're going to make them dinosaurs. What is the
yeah. Oh yeah, like, that makes sense.
Garrett, did you check out Marvel Super Pets with Lockjaw, Loki Frog, Thunder Frog?
No.
Yeah, you have to check that out.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So now, Garrett, we've reached an hour long with you. I don't know if you have to go now or what.
I mean, listen, my kids, I mean, I'm a bad parent, so like,
aren't we all?
Wait to go to bed when I get done. I mean, I could talk for hours about comics. There goes
come to the
Thank you. But I mean, I could talk nonstop about this stuff. I love comics. I love making comics. I love telling stories that even like one person wants to read. And
hold on, we got something from the comments too.
Yeah, so Carrie is asking, before you go, in the beginning of issue 1, Flint mentions Daisy and him not being back for a while. Daisy was the name of John's beagle in the first movie. As we don't see another dog joining him, is Daisy the name of the truck, or did I totally miss something?
Daisy's the name of the gun that John gave Flint.
Oh, nice.
And it was like a special, it was his first pistol that he got, and he got it from John, and it was like a special memento. And I'm pretty sure it says it on, it's probably, I mean, when you see a thing on a computer monitor and you're like, oh, cool, we're laying out this page. Oh, look, it says Daisy on the gun. Like, you probably can't even see it in the print.
Yeah.
But yes, it's the name of his gun.
Okay.
So that's the him and Daisy. You'll see when the animation test comes out for Good Boy, you'll see it more up close, because the animator,
there goes one of my questions.
Do a whole scene where he pulls out the gun and you can see Daisy on the gun.
You know, little in prepping for this, we read Good Boy and also rewatched John Wick. And I didn't notice this the first, well, I absolutely love John Wick. I've seen it a bunch of times, but I noticed this the first time that the Daisy icon is also something that his wife uses. Like her cup had it. And
I think her necklace is a Daisy too, right? Or she has like a Daisy on her. I can't remember now. There's a whole bunch of them. Daisies is like a theme.
You either have ghosts in your house or somebody's not supposed to be up.
I wonder, you know, if I could ask Derek, I would be like, is that a metaphor for something? is the fact that daisies are tied so heavily to her character. Like, is that have a special meaning? You know, because sometimes, I mean, I'm guilty of it too. Like, sometimes I put stuff in books that like it literally means nothing to anyone but me, and I'm just like the idea, like Flint. The whole reason that Flint, he always has a tooth that sticks out of his lip. No one knows anything about that unless they know that Flint was based on my PTSD service dog, Kona, who passed away years ago.
Oh.
And she was the inspiration for that character. And we used to go to school together, and she would dig around in this fucking dirt patch outside of the school. And she would do this dumb thing where she'd like dig and she'd like shove her face in the dirt and like move it around and like blow dirt. And it would, when she pulled her face out of the dirt, her lip was always like, her teeth were like up, and she had this tooth that would just like stick out inside. And that's the thing that I'm like, no one asks about that, but that's just the thing that when I read it, I go, oh, Kona, like that's fun.
So awesome. Garrett, I think your clock is your alarm clock keeps out because we keep seeing children scurrying in the background like ghosts wrapped in blankets and such. So, so before you go, I guess, can you let any of the people watching know about any conventions you have coming up where they can get in touch with you? Just ways that we can spread more of the good word about the good boy.
I have to ask, are you going to be at Terrificon? Because I see you guys a lot out this way.
No, we don't typically do Terrificon just because it's so far. But we're going to be, I mean, we have a deal with Fan Expo, so we do all the Fan Expos. So like my next shows is like, I'm doing Three Rivers Comic-Con in Pittsburgh because that's a pretty close one to us. And we know the showrunners from New Dimension. So we're doing Three Rivers. Then I got Dallas Fan Expo, Denver Fan Expo, Baltimore, New York. I mean, tons of them. But if people want to know about my books and the things I make, they can follow me on any social media. I'm at Some Writer Guy, because if you can't remember who wrote it, like, I don't know, Some Writer Guy.
That makes sense.
Anybody who loves Good Boy and wants to follow along with the toy campaign, you can go to goodboytoy.com and click the little button that says notify me on launch so that you get a little handy email when it goes live and you can go and grab your copy.
When exactly is that it goes live? I didn't write
Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern.
Nice.
And then you can also check out my Patreon, which is patreon.com/somewriterguy. I have like really cool stuff. You can subscribe and get every month you get free variants that are printed just for my patrons. So you can get like super exclusive copies of the books. You get early access to stories before anyone else sees them. All kinds of, stuff from my personal collection and whatever. So, yeah.
I think I've seen you on Whatnot as well.
I do. Yeah. Whatnot, Some Writer Guy on Whatnot. My stuff I put on Whatnot starts at $1. I don't do,
oh, fantastic, man.
Everything's $1. Everything runs for 30 seconds and people get like insane. I mean, I think like last week someone got a 9.8 Ashcan Signature Series CGC for like $12 or something. Like, yeah.
Are you on TikTok as well, Garrett?
Yeah. Yes. But the TikTok, the TikTok is a Good Boy TikTok. So and I can never remember what the fucking name of it is. Oh God. Oh no, I am. It's at some_writer_guy on TikTok.
Nice. And has anybody sent a copy to Keanu yet?
Twice. I know for a fact Keanu has received the book twice, and Derek has gotten it once. Nice. Somebody we know who backed one of the Kickstarters. His sister used to be his personal assistant, and was still friends with him. And he sent her his copy, and she gave it to him.
Nice.
And then Matt Kent gave him another copy when they were working on Berserker. And so I know he's gotten it twice. And I don't care what he thinks of it. I just like the idea. All I'm going to say is, in the newest movie, there was a German Shepherd at the end of the movie. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know. If it's a coincidence, great. If it's not, great.
And in just watching John Wick again this afternoon, my favorite parody that was in the book is when he lets the bodyguard
Same here.
go. When he's like, why
Have a
don't
good
you
night.
go home and spend some time with the kids? Thank you.
I love
Thank
it.
you,
I
Mr.
love it.
Rick,
So-
or thank
yeah.
you, Flynn.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
We love those little things. Like when we were doing the series, it was important to us that it felt like John Wick, but it also made fun of all the things that are ridiculous about John Wick, and just comics in general, like the market scene where they're like, and there was a dog mercenary with a gun, and they're like, don't act like anthropomorphic characters don't exist in this literary universe. Like, that's crazy. Like, that kind of stuff is silly and stupid and like whatever. And even past the first one, we continued then to go on to tell our own stories that have nothing to do with John Wick, but we still sort of keep what we call Wickisms in it. There's still all the same, level of ridiculous action and craziness. So.
Yeah, I didn't actually know the John Wick movies, so I had to ask. Pardon me, because I read through volume 1, 2, and 3. I had to ask Leo about volume 2. I'm like, is in John Wick 2? Do they start off at this farm and blah blah blah? He's like, no. I was like, so this is totally original.
Yeah, starting with volume 2, it's all our own story. The volume 4 that's coming out this fall is called A Red Moon Over Kyoto, and it's about John and Flint's impossible task to get out of it.
Oh, nice.
So it's a prequel, and it's the first time we get to see John and Flint together. And I think it's going to be really cool for people to see their chemistry and like the relationship between them, because you're going to see how much Flint changed after John died. It's going to be dope. And we're having on that Kickstarter, we have a real like samurai sword that's being custom made for us.
No way.
Because the character, the villain, the Red Moon, the villain in Volume 4, the leader of them carries a sword that says a new dawn rests within the shadow of a red moon. And the blade that he uses, we made an exact replica, and it's engraved with the same stuff, looks exactly the same as it does in the book, and it's a one of a kind. Like we had it handmade for us. So it's gonna be sick, dude. Volume 4 is gonna be crazy.
Or Garrett, I'm pitching you a crazy idea.
Okay.
So Flint falls in love. We have a Spider-Man Mary Jane type marriage, and then Mephisto gets involved and retcons the whole thing.
It was always Mephisto. It was always Mephisto.
Always.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Right,
man.
well,
Dude, thank you guys so much for having me on.
Yeah, this
it was an
was
absolute
great.
pleasure. Yeah. And be safe for that pencil, bro.
Yeah.
You got it.
Look out for this Kickstarter.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you
definitely
so much.
chipping in on this one.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we have all your links in the show notes, so everybody
above.
check the show notes up above or down below, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. And Garrett, if there's any issue with the upload, what I'll ask Jar Jar to reach out with you with a link to do the upload afterwards, because we record everything separately. So, but thank you so much for your time. Absolute pleasure talking to you, and can't wait to see what else you do.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys.
Keep it weird, man. Keep it weird.
All right, take it easy, guys.
Yeah.
Have a great night.
All right,
Thanks,
bye.
man.
All right, guys, it's time for.
It's time to duel.
Yeah, so this actually just in. I know we got a bunch of news tonight, and this actually
that was cool, by the way.
Oh,
like,
it was.
It's one of the nicest interviews. Like,
yeah. So Kickstarter just recently added Bryce Gold as head of comics. Looks like he comes from Comixology and Amazon.
Oh wow, good for him! Congratulations.
Yeah. So they looks like they have a comic division already, or they're expanding it. So yeah, very cool.
No, I love. I don't know about you guys. I really enjoy Kickstarters. It's like he was saying.
I need to get more on them. I only did one Kickstarter, and I think it was a Kickstarter supporting Super Troopers 2, and I invested, and I got a bunch of rewards, and my name was in the credits because the movie eventually got made. And I remember seeing the movie in theaters with Ange, and she was like, "Why are you sitting? There's not going to be like any Marvel credit." I was like, "That's my name. It's not right there." She said, "Yes, among all the 3,000 other people." I'm like, "Yes." So now it's me. But I remember I used to know people in theater that always used to do Kickstarters, and I would always get annoyed because I would always donate and they'd promise all rewards, and then nothing ever happened. So I was like, what the hell? Do I get a refund? Like, what the fuck?
They usually don't charge you until the campaign is funded.
Mhm.
But I don't know how it goes once it's funded, if like how they're held to make sure all their rewards go out and stuff.
Right. Okay.
Maybe the guy at the comic division will know. Call him.
Indeed.
Bryce Larkin, was that his name?
Sounds like a supervillain.
Could be.
Yeah.
So, comic book news. What else you got, Leo?
Well, actually, I was going to kick it over to Drew if you wanted to cover your items, since we missed you last week, bud.
Yeah,
Indeed. Thank you. I got a haircut and everything.
Which
well, haircut, a little less. I hate you both. So yeah, I have just a little bit. There really wasn't too much news, and I kind of wanted to stray away from stuff that I know we're going to address, talk about. We're going to most likely talk about the Spider-Man, Miss Marvel controversy at some point. So just a small couple of things. So the first one being is this is a fan favorite that I found that I thought this is really cool. For all of you who remember who Rom the Space Knight is, he will be coming back to Marvel after nearly 40 years. This character, based on a Hasbro toy line, Marvel incorporated the hero into the Marvel Universe, including appearances and other titles and such. So now we're going to have a new Rom. I believe the term that I really enjoyed was seeing that someone called it a Romnibus, which annoyed me that it was not what it was originally called the first time. So you're going to have the title reprinted in Rom, the original year's Omnibus, with Volume 1 containing issues 129 and the character's guest appearance in Power Man Iron Fist issue 73. This will include, as Leo just showed us, Frank Miller's cover for the 1979 Space issue 1, a variant by the series' artist, Sal Buscema, who we know for his work with Amazing Spider-Man, a variant featuring Rom and the X-Men by Miller, and on the right, Leo, one more time, please. On the right there, that's a rare drawing of Rom by the late, great George Perez.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the big deal of this was that you had that this was a cult favorite. It ended in 1986 after 75 issues and a couple of annuals. He made his last appearance in 1994's Incredible Hulk 418 because Marvel lost the Hasbro license. So you'd have characters like the Space Knights. They appear occasionally throughout. I think the last one that we saw was in 2015 when Venom was a Space Knight. You're like, okay. But now Rom is back to Marvel after a stint at IDW, which is most likely, I don't really think they did much, but IDW has been through a lot of heavy layoffs and restructuring, trying to avoid dissolution. So, I don't really think they did much with them there. So, hey, this will be available on sale January 2024. And the ROM 1 Facsimile edition will be in September 2024. So, fans, check that out. I had no idea who this was, but I'm all for bringing back titles so people like me can feel even.
I had no idea Frank Miller did the original #1.
Yeah, yeah.
Apparently, I had no idea Drew was going to still have his mustache, and now it looks like it's starting to curl up.
Oh yeah, what's going on? I thought you were supposed to shave.
You know what? I feel like one of these shows, I'm just going to be clean shaven, and you all are going to make a big deal. I'm like, I hate you both. So speaking of fashion, and this is something really cool, but it is an event I feel like I'm never going to go to unless Splash Pages gets amazingly sponsored and we get tons of money. Which, Leo, let's work on that. San Diego has announced that they will be hosting a real-life Hellfire Gala in this year's upcoming San Diego Comic-Con. So we know of Hellfire Gala as this lavish big event for Krakoa in the X-Men universe, as this is a parody and kind of riff on the Met Gala and the big outfits and such. This is an event meant to, of course, celebrate mutant culture and strengthen Krakoa's friendship with other nations. So Marvel's editor-in-chief, C.B. Cebulski, who was at Terrificon last year, discussed possibly launching this a few months ago at Comic-Cons, and then this is something that even other people have pitched, and now it's official. So the D23, Disney's fan club, announced it was going to take place Saturday, July 22nd. Everyone is encouraged to dress up in their best superhero style cosplay. There are 3 separate areas. You have the Green Lagoon, which is inspired by the watering hole in Krakoa. So you strut down the green carpet. Then you have the Hellfire Ballroom. So you're going to be transported through a real life Krakoan gateway to enter a space where looks are served and justice is brought. The dazzling dance floor comes to life with heroes, villains, and everyone in between, with booths on the edge of the dance floor to catch your breath after you've assembled your own Hellfire Inner Circle, and then Lair X. Head to the underground lair dedicated to the X-Men. Take a look back on the last 60 years of mutant history. Lair X will have its own activities and a dance floor with a bar, seating area, and photo opportunities. So the tickets will range from the gold member, which is $65, to the general member, which is to be $125, or the expedited entry at $155. So the purchase includes the entry, which is a drink ticket, commemorative gift, and then exclusive for the guests who do the expedited and such. So this, if you're going to San Diego Comic-Con, will be taking place Saturday, July 22nd at the Park Nightclub, which is on 615 Broadway, San Diego, California. It's to be about from 8 to 11 p.m.
So Drew, this sounds like this is a way for cosplayers to up their game to couture level.
100%. And it's funny because this begs where I read this also begs the question: could you see MCU doing like its own Hellfire Gala? And me personally, especially as we've seen that Marvel style has really exploded over the last couple of years. I mean, Black Panther won awards for their costume design. Anything's possible. And with the amount of talent that we've seen in cosplayers, what they can do, I'm all for this because some people really are talented, and I do think that they deserve to have their stuff appreciated and strutted and, shown off. So, hey, why not, right?
Yeah, the Marvel Universe Met Gala. Why not?
Indeed.
And have all the actor and actresses put on their own versions.
It doesn't sound too costly either. If you're already going to San Diego Comic-Con, I mean, myself, it wouldn't be something I'd be interested in. But for people who are of the cosplay, this sounds like a real nice way also to if you're bringing out some big guns, this sounds like a lot of fun.
Well, considering the kind of costumes we see at San Diego, this is huge. And like you said, Jeremy, if you're going to San Diego, you're already shelling out some big dough.
Yeah. Right. And for those cosplayers that are always looking for variations on their characters, this is a great way to go.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. So
couture, beautiful dresses, beautiful suits and tuxes.
Gorgeous.
Indeed. So definitely, if you're going to San Diego, please keep an eye out for those tickets. Now, the next thing I have is actually something else that I thought was really cool, is that a online resource called Proco, which is the place for artists to get fun and informative art instruction videos, is announcing a launch of a new course called Marvel, the Art of Storytelling, which is in collaboration with Marvel Comics. So this is going to launch on July 12th, and the course will provide aspiring comic book creators with the opportunity to learn the craft from Marvel industry professionals. So it's a 9-lesson group covering script writing, thumbnailing, character design, and coloring. So you got the hands-on experience from seasoned people. So you have Mark Morales, who's a known inker, Aletha Martinez, Mike Hawthorne, who was, if people know his name, he did a lot of the Jerry Dugan and Brian Posen's Deadpool run. He was one of the frequent collaborators. You have Matt Wilson. I didn't have any art for that, Leo. Sorry. So you have Matt Wilson, who's a famous inker. Daniel Darren Johnson, who's a known writer. Jim Zub, same deal. Eric Gist and Ryan Benjamin. Sanford Green, Aaron Conley. So you have all of these talented people who have been writers, artists, inkers. I'm fairly certain even you're going to get some artists. So these people will be getting hands-on experience by people who work in the industry still to this day. So I think it's super cool. I mean, the founder of Proco, Stan Prokopenko, apologies, said it's been great to work with Marvel Comics on this course. This is the first time our students can utilize such compelling characters and stories, and it really makes the course unique and special. Teaming up with the artist has let us make something unlike anything we've seen. Getting so many professionals in the industry to Proco Studios has meant we could cover more than what a single instructor could bring to the table. So you can sign up for this now. You can save 20% during the pre-sale. The first lesson will be released Wednesday, June 12th. To learn more about it, visit proco.com/Marvel. So honestly, what a great idea, and to have it from professionals. Thought that was super dope. So, because people talk about going to the Kubert school or going to art school and whatnot. Like you're having this, which let's be real here, it's probably going to be some money, But I was like, wow, that's really cool, especially for a first, for a company like this. I mean, just thought that was cool to share. So, and wrapping up Marvel, we brought up Frank Miller. Frank Miller is apparently back at Marvel doing variants.
Really?
Yes. So he's going to be doing a variant cover for Ghost Rider Wolverine, Weapons of Vengeance, Alpha Issue 1.
Yeah,
which is
like this image is causing quite a stir on the hubbub in the internets.
Yes. So this is supposedly the first chapter of a new crossover between writer Benjamin Percy, who we saw doing great work in the Hickman era X-Men for their X-Force. I've met him. He's a really nice guy. So this is a crossover between Ghost Rider and the Wolverine, which Ben and Percy is both working on. So it's a 4-part series that reveals the first time that Logan and Johnny Blaze teamed up against the demonic serial killer. And then that foe returns and is targeting mutants in the landscape of the Fall of X era. So, I mean, again, the series sounds really cool. Personally, Frank's artwork, in my opinion, leaves much to be desired. That's all I'm going to say about that, being that I'm still technically a fan, but I'm not really horribly impressed.
Since Dark Knight 1, I've been like less and less impressed with his artwork. Sometimes it's pretty good. Other times I'm just like, that's not my taste.
It is what it is. I mean, I think that personally he never came back artistically since Sin City, in my opinion. But again, like I said, I can't, minus my criticisms of him, I still love his work and will always recommend Dark Knight Returns, his work on Daredevil. Just whatever. It's Frank Miller. Like you say what you will about him now, but you got to give him his due.
Yeah.
So Rich, the hubbub, is it because of the artwork or is there something deeper to it?
Oh, because of the artwork. Because generally people are like, what the hell happened to Frank Miller's artwork? They think that it looks very remedial. I mean, I'd say his face looks very stylized, but I mean, I think the rest of it is classic Wolverine that I've seen in a million books.
Right. Yeah.
Well, so speaking of Wolverine, actually, Drew, was there anything else you had?
I had
before
two
we,
more, but if you want to interject, that's totally cool, boss.
Yeah. So just to keep on the Wolverines train, X-Men 22, written by Jerry Dugan and artist Joshua Cassera. They are going to reveal a new Sentinel.
Nice.
Utilizing the remains of Wolverine. So I'm not up on X-Men, so I would imagine
Hold
going
on,
by that.
Wolverine's dead again?
Going by I would imagine so if they're using the remains of Wolverine. But yeah, so apparently this is the new Sentinel that's going to be in X-Men 22.
Oh wow, okay. But also, Jeremy, let's be real here. Logan died so many times, but he's also left pieces of himself where people have been able to collect. I recall one time he went to an auction where he was trying to intercept somebody trying to buy one of his severed hands that still had a claw. You know? So it could be somebody bought a piece of him, repurposed it, and then replicated it. It's Marvel. But now we have, it's now Sentinel X. So.
Will it become a good Sentinel in the end? Or will we have to destroy it?
We'll have to destroy it. That's just humanity. Okay. So this is kind of funny. Speaking of DC, I only have two more DC, and then we can just talk about anything else. DC has announced there will be releasing a swimsuit edition.
Wow, the 90s have returned.
Thank you. For those who don't know, Marvel, in a bizarre take, decided that it was a good idea in the 90s to do a swimsuit edition. So you got to see all of your favorite heroes and sometimes villains in tasteful swimsuits. And yes, we're talking bikinis or rippling pectorals and a nice Speedo. Some of them were tastefully done. Some of them were goddamn strange. DC has decided, hey, we're going to do that too. So this is the titled Gnort's Illustrated Swimsuit Edition. 48 pages of art that showcases some of DC's most beloved and popular characters enjoying the summer. The main cover will be about Vasco Georgiev. The open order cardstock variants will be by J. Scott Campbell and Adam Hughes, as well as the 1.25 variant by Pablo Villalobos. So this is set to release August 23rd and local comic shops, and then everywhere else on the 29th.
So they're good artists on it, J. Scott Campbell and Adam Hughes.
J. Scott's clearly the one on the right there.
Yeah, definitely.
So the featured artists will be, and I quote, Amanda Connor, Paul Pelletier, Nicholas Scott, Mikhail Yanin, Jeff DeCall, Daniel Sampre, Gleb Melikonov, Derek Chu, Stanley Archem Lau, Emanuela Lupacino, Joelle Jones, Megan Huang, Terry Dodson, Babs Tart, Pete Woods, Joe Quiones, Helene Lenoble, Otto Schmidt, Michael Allred, Sweeney Bowe, David Talinsky, Jenny Freeson, and more. The description reads, you may ignore Gnort as the bumbling Green Lantern who protects Space Sector 68. Then again, you may not know Gnort at all. Whatever the case, get ready to see him in his newest role as the host and proprietor of this very special swimsuit edition. Join our favorite fuzzball as he showcases some of DC's best swimsuit covers and most swimtacular stories. From the Flash and Speed Force racing briefs to Batman in a bat thing suit. This very one special one shot is summer fun from bikini top to bikini bottom. I have no words except I'm good. So
to each their own, I guess.
Indeed. So now we've already brought up, the world's already know that Ray Stevenson has unfortunately passed. The news was announced yesterday. The veteran actor passed away at the age of 58, which to us feels like that's pretty damn early, but he still did some fantastic work. I believe one of his roles, especially Titus or Tito Pulio in Rome, but we nerds know him as three roles. He was Volstagg in MCU's Thor, last seen dying with the rest of his Warriors 3 in Thor Ragnarok. He was also Frank Castle in Punisher Warzone, probably one of the more accurate depictions of how Punisher really would be. And posthumously, he will be appearing as, and I'm sorry, the name escapes me, the same character in Ashoka that he voiced in Star Wars Bad Blood and in Star Wars Clone Wars. So,
Leo, do you know that name?
What's the character's name again?
He's Ray Stevenson in Ashoka.
Yeah, Ashoka. Come on.
He's a bad Jedi. I just know that because
Thrawn or something like that.
No, it's not Thrawn.
Ephron. I thought. No, maybe I don't.
Ephron.
Gar Saxon.
There you go.
That's the one.
And it's sad because he talked about what joy it was to be, wielding a lightsaber in the series. He said it was one of the best things he's done. Again, really sad. He seemed like a really great actor, and will be missed. He's remembered fondly.
That's a really young movie.
Gar Saxon's a Mandalorian.
Oh wow!
Oh, is he?
Yeah. He looks like a Jedi in the trailer.
Well, Mandalorians can be Jedi.
Oh, that's cool. So the last thing to also bring up is that is the end of an era, as veteran editor Mike Carlin announced that he is retired from DC after 37 years. This was announced on his wife Janice's Facebook page. So for those who don't know who Mike Carlin was, he was an editor with Marvel for a while. Did stuff, Captain America, The Thing, and such. He was let go in 1986, but then he was hired by DC, where he was running the Superman line, where he was also one of the big contributors on The Death of the Superman and then the following reign of Superman. So from 1996 to 2002, he worked as the executive editor. And one of his big things, which I was very proud of that he helped bring, was DC versus Marvel, which is still one of my favorite crossover events. He was the senior group editor in 2003, overseeing projects like the popular but controversial Identity Crisis, and then moved over to the animation division in 2011, where we spent essentially the last 12 years as a creative director. So he had a great career. Much respect. Thank you for everything you did, Mr. Carlin. And it's real sad, but eventually everybody's got to retire sometime.
Enjoy retirement. At least it's
indeed.
retirement.
Please enjoy retirement.
He was just at a local show at the New Haven Collectible Con this weekend with Paul Kupperberg and Joe St. Pierre.
Right. Well done, Rich. I was just about to say. So sad, but like I said, Leo, you're not allowed to retire yet, so stay.
Yes.
So stay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So that's all the news I had, everybody. I know everyone's very surprised. They're expecting at least 20 more minutes, but I'm tired. I'm still getting back in the swing of things. So, guys.
It sounds like you still have a thing in your throat, too. Allergies?
Yeah.
What do we got going?
Honestly, I have no idea. Like, I feel like I'm back, but I'm at like half. So, I don't know.
Well, I'll try to rush through the rest of the news items. So real quick.
I have some as well, Leo. So
fine then. Fine then.
Don't rush, but keep it moving.
Okay, so HBO Max is now Max officially today,
It's the Max.
I know. So they are launching Max with the Shazam: Fury of the Gods, which is out now to watch on Max.
Good movie,
and,
by the way.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a good movie.
Yeah, very good movie. And actually, it's pretty funny. My 4K edition just showed up today as well. So it's the Shazam day,
So are you saying you're taking the day to the max?
Sure, we'll go with that.
Shazam.
Okay. So coming out May 24th, which is coming up soon. Marvel
May
is
the 24th be with you.
May the 24th be
And
with
also
you.
It's really yeah.
So the Iron Man facsimile edition #1 is being released. So that's yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, if you like collecting the facsimile editions, so that's definitely a nice pickup.
The color's different on that from the original, I think. I'm colorblind, so I might be wrong. But
No,
it looks off.
It definitely got touched up, Jeremy.
Those
Okay.
are delicious.
What else, Leo?
Okay, the final Flash trailer came out today.
I saw that, the Japanese subtitles.
Yeah, well, also some additional footage as well.
Yeah,
So
we saw the ring.
yeah, so I'll pull it up here. I won't show the full thing, but starts off with Flash getting some. Actually, I'll play a little bit.
No. Don't spoil anything.
Well, it's not spoils, but
Just a trailer.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's the girl that the Flash runs right through. Bam!
And he rips her face right off.
Yeah,
I was
you're
just
wrong.
trying to play a game of tag.
But Leo, let's get nuts.
I know. Holy shit. Yeah, it's I'm excited for this. It's it's definitely. And who's going to rewatch Batman 89 before this comes out?
I've watched it so many times. I don't think I need to.
But you see, the sad thing is that despite all the controversy that Ezra Miller, I feel like with this movie, the Flash just kind of plays. He's not the main character of his own movie at this point. I feel like more people are more excited to see. Like, I'm more excited to see like Michael Keaton back as Batman, or I mean, like,
I just want to see where it ends. Really,
are you going to be bummed out if now you've seen all of Michael Keaton's scenes, though? At this point,
I will be.
I don't think we've seen all of them.
I will be annoyed, but I will say, still looks great. Still looks great. Man. Him in that bat suit, still.
Oh yeah.
Oh, still got those chills. And I'm also curious to see what they do with this other version of Supergirl. So we'll see.
Yeah. So Flash comes out June 16th.
Okay.
And so
that's like 2 weeks away.
I know. Box Office Pro is speculating that it will be making between 115,000 and 115 million and 140 million opening day. Or opening weekend, I believe.
Interesting.
Opening weekend.
Yeah, three day opening, low high range. So they're estimating.
What was the original cost of the movie? I would figure they would want to at least recoup half of that opening weekend.
Really?
You would think, right? So that they would know by the end of 2 weeks. 2 weeks is usually how much it should be the cost of the movie, and then the rest of it should be just money.
Yeah,
right.
So the film's budget was listed at 220 million.
So yeah, that's a little over half.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see.
And apparently Stephen King was able to see yeah. So he said on Twitter, I got an advanced screening of The Flash today. As a rule, I don't care a lot for superhero movies, but this one is special. It's heartfelt, funny, and eye-popping. I loved it.
Interesting.
I'm excited even more for it.
There you go.
He's got a new movie coming out too, doesn't he? Boogeyman.
Well, speaking of that, guys, I got to tell you, we're going to have our first giveaway here on Splash Pages, brought to you by the movie The Boogeyman.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Really?
An opportunity to see an advanced screening. You get a pair of tickets to an advanced screening on the 30th of this month to see The Boogeyman at the AMC Boston Theater. So the first person to email leo@leopond.com a screenshot of Splash Pages that you have subscribed to the Facebook group as well. And if you send those two things, and if you live in the New England area and you get to the show, email Leo, and the first person, I will send a link for 2 free tickets to see The Boogeyman. Now, what is The Boogeyman, you ask? The Boogeyman is a horror thriller for the mind of best-selling author Stephen King, which opens nationwide June 2nd, 2023 in theaters. High school student Sadie Harper and her younger sister Sawyer are reeling from the recent death of their mother and aren't getting much support from their father, Will, a therapist who is dealing with his own pain. When a desperate patient unexpectedly shows up at their home seeking help, he leaves behind a terrifying supernatural entity that preys on families and feeds on the suffering of its victims. Now, The Boogeyman is directed by Rob Savage, screenplay by Scott Beck and Brian Woods, and it is based on a Stephen King short story from the book Nightbreed, which is one of his earlier works.
Yes.
It has great stars in it. Sophie Thatcher from Yellow Jackets, Chris Messina from Birds of Prey, Vivian Lear-Blair from Obi-Wan, Marin Ireland from The Umbrella Academy, Madison Hugh from Bizaardvark, David Dasmalian, who we all know from Dune, Sean Levy from Stranger Things, Dan Levine from Arrival, Dan Cohn from The Adam Project, John H. Stark from Sicario. So if you want to get those tickets, once again, email leo@leopon.com. And what you need is subscribed on YouTube to our Splash Pages YouTube page and subscribe on our Facebook Splash Pages thing. You put those 2 pictures in and those tickets are in your hand, free. And thank you once again to The Boogeyman.
Woohoo! Very cool.
And you can see me and Harley there that night.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Look at this
It's like a date.
Well,
So yes, I'm pretty excited about that.
Look at this. See, see, Leo, look at this. This man gets thousands of views on his TikTok, and then suddenly he's going to movie premieres. We've created a monster. By God.
So Leo, now you can continue with your news.
Yeah,
But it's a good way to bisect with Stephen King stuff and The Boogeyman, and our free giveaway for two count of 1, 2 tickets to a movie premiere before it is even out nationwide.
Very cool. So speaking of monster, this really isn't comic book. Well, this could be comic book related. But the welcome back to the island. The next chapter of the Monsterverse begins on Netflix, June 22nd. Skull Island comes out.
Oh, no kidding.
And it's animated.
It's animated?
Animated.
Yo, let's go.
I didn't know they had an animated King Kong going on.
I am so ready.
That looks cool.
Yeah, it does.
It looks
Skull Island.
Okay. The Godzilla Netflix was pretty dope. I don't know if you guys caught that. They had like a 3-part series.
I don't know. Jeremy, I'm sorry. I think I know what you're talking about. And if that's the same one, I wasn't really impressed.
No, I liked the art on it a lot. The story was kind of like an old school Godzilla story where you're waiting and waiting for Godzilla to finally show up, and then Godzilla shows up and it's like,
But, all right. But all right. So Leo, what else do you have, or is that it?
You know what? I'm gonna stop there. The rest of it is just talking about some of the new comics coming out this week. DC, I don't. They don't update their website. Like the DC comics come out today. They don't update the website today.
There's not much coming out this week. I know that. I don't actually think I have anything on my poll for the week.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's a pretty small week.
I got 3 quick ones. I'll try to blast them. So once again, guys, James Gunn continuing to blast DC rumors as he begins storyboarding Superman Legacy. He's like, I'm getting barraged with bullshit DC rumors this morning. I'll just reiterate the general rule not to believe anything unless it comes from me or Peter Safran. But unless it's especially egregious, I'm going to slow down on calling shit out. Sorry, I know it's one of my favorite traditions. Oh, there you go. And like I said, I'm trying to go through its story so you guys can look that up. It's basically someone saying, "Oh, you're storyboarding based on the first draft," and James Gunn is like, "It's far from the first draft." So that's a statement that don't expect anything to be real unless it comes from him or Peter.
Oh,
Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Drew. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, guys. I don't know if everybody here has seen. Speaking of James Gunn, I saw the third Guardians the weekend. I need to say this. I need to say this. This is so important.
Mm-hmm.
I have never cried more during a Marvel movie than I did this movie.
No.
This movie wrecked me. So if you are going to go, everybody, please
bring your tissues.
Bring your tissues, or if you cannot afford tissues, there are some that are at the concession stands in the nearby area. Because I'm not gonna lie,
that settles it. I'm gonna wait till it comes out on VOD.
I'm definitely waiting for VOD.
Mm-hmm.
I cry hard at movies already. It's pathetic.
Yes, yeah. I'm right there, right with you there, Jar Jar. Like I'm a complete fucking mess anyway. So
yeah.
I'm just letting you know, when you see, holy shit, it wrecked it. Again, I'm not going to give anything away, but what a fantastic end to the trilogy. It was just so good in the way James Gunn, like, essentially, I said it in my Facebook, if this is the kind of energy he's bringing to his Superman, I'm ready. Like, let's do this.
That good, huh?
I need to say this. It's now, Jar Jar, I'll put it this way, it's in my top 5 of best MCU movies I've seen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right. I would put Guardians, the first one, in probably my top 5. So it'd be nice to have that all come back around in the final one.
Yeah, so that's all I need to say about that. So,
cool.
That you were saying.
And in light or in favor of our good friend and sometimes collaborator, Miss Carrie Sanders, Neil Gaiman defends casting Peter Davison and Ty Tennant in Good Omens.
Nice.
Has to defend that?
Father-in-law and son will appear in season 2.
Okay.
So he basically says that when he got their acting reels, he didn't know who they were. He just liked their reels, and it just worked out that way. And
Cool.
He auditioned along with a number of other actors, got the part because he did the best. I didn't know when I cast him. I just liked the audition tape. And Gaiman also points out that Tennant's mother-in-law, Sandra Dickinson, is also an actress and was cast in the Sandman audiobook. So it is what it is. And considering that James Gunn works with a lot of the same people all the time, he likes to keep the same creative circle. What does it matter?
Yeah.
Thank you.
People just need to stop complaining.
Yeah, if you find the right crew to work with, why would you want to swap out people?
Right. Exactly.
Exactly.
Like, it makes no sense. So,
damn it, guys! Why don't you have anybody new on?
So that one's for you, Carrie. And rounding out my news, yesterday on Three Bears in a Cave, Kevin Smith came on. It was his first interview since him getting back from his sabbatical. Remember, he made that sabbatical announcement that he had to get a little better because he had a psychotic episode. You're welcome, Carrie. And it was a 3-hour podcast, and it was great. It was just Bert Kreischer and Kevin Smith chatting from everything about their careers, from Kevin's health, from them both working with Mark Hamill. And I ended up actually chopping up the interview with them talking about working with Mark Hamill together, put a nice little 1-minute reel together. And I woke up this morning to 18,000 views on TikTok. And right before the episode, I was at 32,000 views.
Wow.
So a piece of news, which turned into a piece of content, and yay!
That's fantastic, Rich.
Yeah.
I love seeing your videos. And I love seeing them when they hit big. I'm like, yeah, I know that guy.
I appreciate that. And I really recommend you guys go checking out. It's on YMH Studios. It's Three Bears in a Cave. It was 3 hours, but I drive around all day. It's great, like having a podcast in the background, just listening to it. It was very cool. informative on all levels. So you guys should enjoy that and check that out, or check out my very short version on TikTok, Velvet Joker 1.
Okay.
Very
All
cool.
my news.
And also in news, we need to fix Drew's internet.
You know what? You know what? I don't need to take this. We're near almost the 2-hour mark. So since we already talked about the book a lot with the creator, maybe we could just
talk about the book a little bit.
Talk about the book some. We should go through it. There's 3 volumes of it.
Yeah, I wonder if Drew even ordered a new router at this point.
Oh.
Okay, you know what? I'm not on trial here. No. Hold on. I'm not on trial here. Okay. I'm coughing up a goddamn lung, and I'm dealing with the Spanish Inquisition here. Okay.
I'm feeling you. All of a sudden, my allergies are going crazy right now.
Well, hopefully he's coming right back.
Oh
yeah.
Actually,
there he is.
Actually, in all seriousness, Drew, find out what type of router you can take. Because as I told you, we're cleaning out my sister's house. I just bought my mother a brand new router for her internet there, and it's pretty decent. So if it'll work with you,
Leo, it's the router that we have from them.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
Yeah, we just lost him, Leo.
Welcome back.
Because he has a shitty router.
Yeah. Well, what it is I think he's working off of I don't know if he's on Wi-Fi. He's on his phone, so it's
yeah.
God, what the fuck? Listen, can we just please let's just wrap this up. All right. So the
good boy.
Yeah, so some of us saw John Wick for the first time. So just a quick recap: we read Good Boy and we watched John Wick to compare the two. And me being a huge John Wick fan, I absolutely loved the movie. I thought this was amazing. I absolutely loved the book, and I just loved watching John Wick again. And that's what I'm gonna say about it right now. Who would like to go next?
I'll go next since it was my first time on John Wick.
What was your first reaction, Jar Jar? Since this is
all right. When I first sat down, I have to say, like as Garrett Gunn said, this had every element to be a really bad movie, but it was actually a lot of fun. And I had a good time from beginning to end. The only problem I had was initially believing that Keanu Reeves is this like retired assassin and stuff like that. It was just like, I'm dropped into this world and you're right there into the action. It's not like there's any story told to you at all. It's just, bam, here's John Wick. This is what he does. If you don't like it, too fucking bad. And I thought it was great from beginning to end. It was so much fun. I almost want to watch part 2 and 3 now.
So Jar Jar, with the not believing John Wick or Keanu in this position, I highly urge you to look at his training videos.
Oh, I've seen those actually.
Yeah.
Believe me, I know he is, but like Keanu Reeves, I know him Point Break or Bill and Ted or even The Matrix and stuff like that, where he's kind of like this surfer dude, like, wow, man, hey, and then all of a sudden he's a dead serious, deadly assassin, and I'm just like, wow, okay.
One thing I absolutely loved about the movie is, if you notice, like, he actually runs out of ammo. It's realistic, you never see that in a friggin' action movie.
No, I was actually, when he first started, I was when they all came into the house, I was sitting there counting rounds. Yeah. And when I got to 10, he dropped the clip, and I was like, "Oh, son of a bitch!"
Okay, who would like to go next?
I'll go next. First of all, I'll say about the movie John Wick. I totally forgot that Willem Dafoe was in it, and great part.
That was really cool. Actually,
and he dies really cool too.
Yeah.
I'm going out on my own terms. Oh, I love it.
But I thought this comic was a load of fun. I would have never thought an anamorphic version of John Wick, even though he's not exactly John Wick. It's the reverse. He's the dog, but he's anamorphic. Jeremy, I know you read further. Is there? Actually, Garrett told us in the interview that the first time you're going to see them together, working together, besides in like these little memory lapses, is in this new 4th series that's coming out later this year. That's what I was about to say. I can see this like character doing all kinds of things, how they can like spin the storyline. Like, will Flint ever have romance? Will he go on to be an assassin? How many of those coins does he actually still have? I don't know. I thought it was a lot of great fun, and compared against the movie, we had mentioned also in the interview the thing where the security guard is sort of given the John Wick's is like, hey man, just why don't you go home? How's the family and all this stuff? And he's like, yeah, move on. And the same exact scene happens.
Mr. Wick.
Very cool, very cool. Mr. Wick or Mr. Flint, either way, depending on what you're watching. But I had a great time with it. I'll go one further. I'm going to give it 4 semi-automatic machine gun pistols.
Nice.
Go for it, Drew.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna lie, it took me a minute to get into this. I think just because when I tried reading it, I don't know, I hit an odd like reading speed bump because I didn't get it. And then I rewatched the movie, which always great. And then I tried it again, and then I just kind of like disconnected because I was like, how is this like? And then it's funny because in the book, one of the characters says like, are you weird about this? There's like talking anthropomorphic animals in every literary universe. And I'm like, wow, what a clever way to explain how all this wacky, shit. Because I'm reading this, I'm like, what furry nightmare is this? So, I mean, honestly, I think you guys said it best. It's just a lot of fun. It clearly is an homage to John Wick. It was really hard for me not to hear the characters who I knew were anagrams to characters in John Wick and not hear their voices. The late great Lance Reddick, that actor Ian McShane, even the gentleman who he's the live action Tick in the 2nd series, doing the selling the guns or stuff, or even when they're talking about, what kind of casual wear? Tactical. It was just great, and it was just fun, and it just kind of reminded me exactly that sometimes the best comics are the ones that don't take itself seriously, are just weird, and they love that they're weird, they accept that they're weird, and we love them for that. So honestly, 4.5 semi-automatics for me. Pretty great. Not gonna lie. So, yeah.
Sounds like we all around loved it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna read the rest.
And Leo and Jar Jar, how would you guys rate it since Drew and I did already?
I would definitely say 4.25. Like, it was enough to put me on the 2nd and 3rd volume, and they're all like really easy reads. Like,
yeah,
I'd say
I've
it took
never
me
read
an hour.
Garrett's before, and now I'm interested.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go read that. Thomas and Ghost or something like that.
Franklin and Ghost.
Franklin and Ghost. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And what about the other two? Warcorns.
Warcorns, yeah.
Warcorns.
Yeah, Warcorns. I definitely read them. So
yeah, I think I'm going to check them out as well. I was already looking on Source Point Press as of how much they are. You
Is that
can
the
actually
same publisher that Steve puts his books out on with?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, that. Oh, fuck! I just thought it's gone. Never mind. Keep going, Leo. Go.
Oh no! I was just gonna close us up if everybody's
Wait,
good.
No. Totally close us up. Yeah, I was just like. Oh, right. Now I remember. He's on Facebook. I just friended him and he accepted. So I'm like, yes.
Nice.
So he's also on Facebook. If you look up Some Writer Guy, you'll find him.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you, Carrie. Always great to know you're watching.
And
Leah,
I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to read all the comments. I want to thank everybody for watching and commenting tonight. And what were you going to say there, Drew?
I would say, Leo, do the thing. It's been a while, so I know we're all still getting used to each other. The first time we've all four of us been together. So, Leo, you want to play us out?
Sounds good. I want to thank everybody for watching this fine evening. You know me, just Google me. You'll find a bunch of stuff. It could be true, could be not. I'm not going to say which is which, but I run the Dorkening Podcast Network. Head on over to thedorkening.com. You can check all the latest shows right there. And head on over to our Splash Pages website as well. Information and show notes up above or down below, including a Splash Pages YouTube page as well. And I do a bunch of other shows, Comics Paradox, Midweek Geeks, Still Token With, and also The Dork Night. And I'm sure there's other stuff as well. But yeah, go check it all out. And let's see, Jar Jar.
Hold on, Leo, go back to yourself for a second. Is Pac-Man out of place there?
Yeah,
Right next to Frogger. It looks like it fell. I want to yell at you. But,
yeah, I'm sorry. And my Indiana Jones fell as well.
Oh, my OCD was going crazy. I'm like, there's a blank space there for some reason. I cannot take it.
I'm sorry. And I'm Carrie says, yeah, that's bugged me all night too. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm actually gonna fill up the rest of the space. I'm getting some NES boxes. So
nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Very.
All right. Hey, thanks for tuning in to Splash Pages, a podcast that always leaves you with a smile on your face and a new appreciation for the world of comics. Don't forget to check out Comic Book Lovers Buy, Sell, Trade, and Auction House on Facebook for even more comic book goodness. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave us a review and let us know what you want to hear more of in the future. Until next time, Jar Jar Jeremy saying good night, and always keep turning those pages.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Love it.
Good evening, everyone. It's your man, Velvet J, and you see me every Tuesday on the award-winning Splash Pages. And where else can you find me? You can find me on TikTok, Velvet Joker 1. You can find me on YouTube, Velvet Joker 1. You can find me on Reels. I've been doing this online thing now for about 7-8 months. On Facebook Reels, I have one piece that's 890,000. I just told you guys tonight about a new piece that just went 32,000. It's all exciting. I never thought I'd get these kind of views. You put in the work, you put in the editing. I'm disseminating nerd culture to you guys, and I love it. I enjoy doing it, and I hope you guys are enjoying it too. Let us know. Let me know. Thank you.
Awesome. Mr. Drew.
Hello, everyone. I'm closing out this wonderful nightmare, and I'm so glad to be back with these weirdos. I'm on Facebook. I'm other places. I'm on Instagram, GhostbusterMan1984. I can't change it, so I'm just rolling with it. I'm back writing for Screen Rant, so more stuff will be there. I'm generally still tired, but it's the summer, so I'm tired because I'm always doing something on the weekend. But that's me, and that's my life. But thanks for coming by.
Awesome. With that, we'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Peace out. Thanks for checking us out, guys.
Keep turning.